All right, done with Earl Sholley. Mr. Sholley, you're running for Congress in Barney Frank's district.
I am. It's a real challenge, and we think that he's vulnerable this time. We think the American people are sick and tired of career politicians. They're tired of the government trying to run the show, and we know what happens there. I mean, this is the same group that's given us the Ponzi scheme of Social Security, the cost overruns of the Big Dig, and now we're going to expect them to run our healthcare system. People don't even want them to take their temperature, never mind running the whole show.
Earl, you're the son of an iron ore miner. You're a small businessman. What I see at these town halls is a message. Have the politicians in Washington lost touch with the rest of the country?
Absolutely, Griff. I think they have not a clue of what's going on out in the country. People are concerned, they're scared, they're terrified about this prospect. 80% of them like their current system. They like their doctor. They don't want the government in their doctor's office. It's simply a question of where is the money coming from. You know, we already have a single-payer system here in this country. It's called Medicare. It's $87 trillion. That's $87 trillion, Griff, in unfunded mandates. Where are we going to get the money? Are we going to ask the Federal Reserve to print more money for us? We're looking at huge inflation. I think this is just a diversion. The real problem that we have today is a financial crisis, and most people don't care about health care. Sure, do they want reform? We do want reform, but reform means improving the current system. It doesn't mean a radical transformation of our health care system, and that's what they're trying to do. I think that that's a prescription for disaster.
You're running against Barney Frank, so it's inappropriate for a candidate to show up and ask questions at a town hall that's pretty much his Dem Party meeting. But if you were sitting down talking with Mr. Frank, what would you say to him?
Well, I don't think there's too much that Mr. Frank and I would have in common. I believe that, first of all, we should get back to the original intent of our founding fathers, and that's to have citizen legislators who give 1 or 2 terms of service to their community, state, and country, and then they go back to the private sector. I don't believe that we should have professional career politicians, which we've got. Not only that, but we have a legal aristocracy in this country that's making things more difficult for the rest of us to understand. Let's get back to plain talk. People want plain talk. They want less government in their lives. They don't want the government running the show here. They don't trust them to do it. We have a VA system that's good. We should take care of our veterans. But I mean, look at all of these things that we're looking at. We're looking at long lines. We're looking at rationing. We know that's the fact because they're doing it in Canada. They're doing it in England. They're doing it throughout Europe. We know it's going to happen here. We already have people coming down from Canada. My daughter lives in Seattle, Washington. She works in the healthcare system out there. People come down for operations. They come down to Cleveland. My girlfriend's a nurse. She grew up in Cleveland. That's another big area where they come down. They come down to Boston. Boston has single payer. 3 states have tried it. It's failed miserably. So if the states can't get it right, how is the federal government, how is that vast, massive bureaucracy going to get it right? And not only that, how about the massive invasion of our privacy? People just don't want it. There's nothing about this that's good. Everybody is really scared about the government getting too much power. Barney Frank and I, if we were sitting down, Barney Frank is a Marxist. I'm a free enterprise guy. I believe in the Constitution. I believe that we should adhere to the Constitution. And we have a lot of people in Washington who view the Constitution, including the current president, as a stumbling block to the agenda that they want to implement. We need to get back to the concepts of freedom. We need to consider what are we doing for our children, for our future, for our posterity. What's the legacy that we're leaving them? We have the best system in the world. Are we going to put it in shambles and leave that to them, as well as the bankrupt financial condition that we have here in this country? We need to focus on jobs. That's what most people care about. They don't care about, they want reform. Sure, there are things that need improvement. And I think the doctors and the healthcare system itself needs to step up to the plate, and they need to find ways to streamline the system. And I think there's too much over-operating, there's too much over-prescribing of medications. There are a lot of situations that need to be looked at, a lot of areas where improvement can be made. But we can save money. The government is just going to make it worse. We know that. The president already admits that the post office does a pretty bad job because he said they're always having problems. He pointed to UPS and FedEx. Now, I've You know, I had a landscaping business for many years, so I had winters free, and I managed to work for both UPS and the post office. And I can tell you what, I can see why they make money at UPS and why they don't make money, why they can't turn a profit at the USPS.
Earl, you've seen what happens in these town halls. These guys are getting yelled at, they're getting hammered. Why do you want to run for that job? You sure you want to go to Washington?
I do, because I'm not a politician. I'm a landscaper. When I get to Washington, I'm going to implement the 4 Ds of pruning. Now, Griff, I guess you're wondering what the 4 Ds of pruning are. Well, the 4 Ds of pruning are dead, damaged, disease, and my personal favorite, deranged. We need to clean out Washington. I want to reduce the federal bureaucracy by 50% over 10 years. Do we want to save money? If health care is a priority, let's clean up the financial mess first, and then we can look at health care. I think this is just a diversion. The administration is trying to hide the failed economic policies that they've tried to implement. We've quadrupled the deficit in this country. What kind of a legacy are we leaving to our children? It's terrible. And not only that, there are other issues. You know, they've already told us, we know for a fact, that we're going to be looking at federally funded abortion. There are a lot of people in this country who will simply not tolerate that. That's a big issue. And to suggest that it isn't, and what do the Democrats want to do? They don't give it to us in writing, but they're telling us that, oh no, that's not the case. But they won't give it to us in writing. 93 of them have signed on to this single-payer system. There are 93 co-sponsors. Barney Frank is one of the strongest co-sponsors. He's a big government guy. He wants government in every aspect of your life. He's done so much to damage not only the financial system of this country, but the immigration and naturalization laws of this country. He undermined those laws over a 20-year period. Because of what he did, he allowed many of the hijackers to come in because they changed the rules of the game because of Frank tinkering with the system. He voted against Amber Alert. Can you imagine? I wonder if Bill O'Reilly knows that. Do you think he's aware of the fact that Barney Frank, he voted against the Amber Alert bill? And not only that, the vote in the Senate was 98-0 in favor of. It was 400-25 in the House. He actually had no shame, and he told people why he voted against it. He voted against it, and this is a quote from Barney Frank himself, because the penalties were too severe for pedophiles and child pornographers. Now, is that a man who's out of touch with America?
Best of luck on the run.
Thank you, Griff. It was my pleasure.